Hi, and welcome to the Flex with Aaliyah. Today, I'm talking all about the Olympics. We had a couple weeks to really enjoy and see the events, the excitement, the stress, it all come together. And it was super exciting to see because every 4 years, that's when we get to indulge in this high caliber athleticism. Kicking things off with a quote. The most important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning, but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering, but fighting well. If you think about the Olympics, it takes all the top tier athletes and puts them together in competition. But there can only be one winner in each sport. So the majority of people who are going are actually not going to win. However, having the ability to represent your country is a moment probably most of these athletes will remember forever. And that's their goal. Sure, they might want to win a gold, a silver, or bronze medal, but the fact that they're able to sit atop all the other athletes at this event is quite a showing. And it was really exciting to see some of the highlights. Oh my God. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to go through some of my favorite or the ones that topped for me. One of the nail biters was the 100-meter track race. Noah Lyles, holy hell. He didn't have the best start compared to his other competitors, but the photo finish of that race, 5,000ths of a second, shitballs, that is crazy. And you actually didn't think he won. They thought Jamaica won. And upon the photo finish, Noah Lyles had got his chest over the line before all the others. And that they re-showed that clip quite a few times, and I watched that because the race is super short and it goes so fast you can't even see it. That was probably one of my favorite because it was so intense and you're rooting for them and you can't even tell who won. Not to mention that he was also going for contention in gold for the 200. And if you were paying attention, he actually tested positive for COVID, but nobody found out until after he ran the 200. So he qualified while sick for the 200, and he got bronze with a crazy high fever. It was over 100, and he still placed, which is insane. I'm not condoning pushing yourself to that limit, but we also have to recognize how amazing of a feat and how good he had to have been to be able to be sick, have this super high fever, and to perform like that. That's impeccable. And then if you love gymnastics, the U.S. team, they got gold. Super exciting because they came away with silver in Tokyo. And this year, they came fighting back and they got gold. One of the biggest stories was Simone Biles coming back after withdrawing in Tokyo from some of the individual events. And this year, she definitely brought it. I personally didn't have any doubts. Shit happens. And a lot of people gave her crap for stepping aside for her own health, well-being, safety. People thought it was selfish. You're not in her shoes, so you can't even speak to that. Most of us are sitting watching and judging her. You can't. You're not at that level, so just don't. But she came back. Also, if you haven't checked out her kind of documentary on Netflix, it's actually really good. And the third part hasn't come out yet because it's really about the Olympics. The last episode, which I'm super excited to see that behind the scenes look of her adventures there. Because I watched it leading up and now you get to see it unfold. So with her Olympics this year, sure, did she not do as good as she had done in the past? No, but holy moly, she definitely brought her routines. She nailed that vault. Holy shit. Go, if you don't know what I'm talking, go watch it. And it was probably her best vault ever that she's done of this extremely hard movement. I don't know what it's called. They have names for all of them. And she got it named after her, not at this, but at a previous event. And it was really spectacular to see. And then some of the other ones for gymnastics was actually the men's gymnastics. They came away with bronze. And the big story there was this athlete named Steven. He's a specialty athlete, only does the pommel horse. And you have to be so good at your event to qualify for the Olympics as a specialty on the team. Because that means you do nothing except for this one apparatus. So he sat around for about 2.5 hours before actually competing. And they needed some really good pommel horse scores to medal. And he nailed it. They kept calling him Clark Kent because he has glasses, has this nerdy kind of air about him. And then he just strips them off, does his performance, nails it. And Team USA for men's gymnastics got bronze. Fantastic. If any of you like basketball, I bet you guys were so stressed. Watching the men's basketball, like, fantastic, they won gold, but their games leading up to it were not crushing it, let's just say that. The games were close, they were nail-biters. They came away with a win, but wow. I don't think any of the USA basketball fans have nails anymore. Not to mention the women's basketball final, USA did win gold, but it was relatively close between USA and France. And USA was up by 3 points. And France got the ball back and they made a shot at the buzzer and they got it. And they were hoping for a 3-pointer, but she stepped over the line and it was only 2 points. They needed 3 to tie. Oh, God, what a drag to step over that line. And you know you needed 3. And whether your momentum carried you over that line or whatnot, that's probably going to beat you up for a little bit. USA is probably ecstatic about it. But what a close, exciting game for that. Another buzzer beater was women's rugby. USA versus Australia for the bronze medal. The time's dwindling down, and Team USA only has pretty much time for one play left. And they pass the ball, so player Alex breaks a tackle with just like moments left and sprints into the end zone, getting, I don't know if they call it a touchdown in rugby, but they get to score. And time's out. But you get to finish it, so they were able to do a conversion. They had to make the conversion to win, because now it's tied. And lo and behold, they make the conversion, they win bronze. And if you should watch the replay of that, because it was so exciting to watch. Pretty stressful, but if the ball stopped at all, like, the play was done. It was going to be done. Forward motion had to keep going for the play to continue. So it was super, super, super exciting to see. That was so cool. Another track and field event that was an upset, but super not exciting to watch because it was a longer event, but the ending, Cole Hawker, it was the 1,500 meters, and he was back. The story was really about the top Norway runner and the Great Britain runner. And in the final turn, Cole Hawker made a move for it, and he ended up sneaking into first. And there was actually, the third place was another U.S. team member who snuck into the third. And it was a huge upset because the first and third place were now U.S. and the top 2 were set to be Norway and Great Britain, and it was an upset. It was Go watch the last 400 meters of the men's 1500 meters. And it was pretty close. You're like, how can you possibly go any faster? You're watching them. They look effortless. And then there's like these little turbo boosts where they're making small progress, but it pays off. And that's how you sneak in there. Woo! Man, that's fire right there. And then, of course, kudos to Katie Ledecky, who won again, and she is the first woman to ever four-peat in an individual Olympic event. Awesome. That's so cool. That was a swimming event. And I feel like swimming hasn't been as hot as when Michael Phelps was there and Ryan Lochte, and you had all these people. Or maybe I'm just more into track and field now because I was definitely watching so much track and field. It was epic. I was looking forward to watching the women's 100 and 200 meters because I had watched a kind of docuseries called Sprint, and it was about last year. So Noah Lyles is in it from the World Championships from 2023, Gabby Thomas, Shericka Jackson from Jamaica, Sha'Carri Richardson, all these top runners in the men and women's field leading up to this. So I was so pumped to see how they were going to do. And in the women's 200, Shericka Jackson actually pulled out. They didn't say why, but she pulled out of the 100 and the 200 actually. And Gabby Thomas won the 200 meters. She looked beautiful running. Check out that one. And it wasn't as close as some of the other races. She definitely took that one. Not to mention the women's 4x100. Gosh, Team USA, I wouldn't say they crushed it, but holy shit, they crushed it. So go watch it. Like, you'll see in qualifiers, they had a little bit of struggle passing the baton. But then, man, when that final happened, whoosh, it was awesome. That's really all I can say. It was so beautiful to watch. And Sha'Carri just beasted it home. It was like someone was chasing her down. She was like, not today, bitches, and flew. One of the other big stories in track and field was the 16-year-old Quincy Wilson competing in his first Olympics. And he actually got to win gold because he was in the men's relay. He participated in the qualifier, not in the final. And he kind of started to die off in the 150, but you rely on your teammates. So he did what he could in his leg, and then the rest of his team did the work. They worked back up. They were about 3 seconds behind when they passed the baton off, and in 7th place in this qualifier. And you needed to be, I believe, top 2, could be top 3, but top 2 to move on to the final. And USA worked their way back. And then in the final, they won. Quincy didn't run in the final. But to be a part of that, so cool. And one of the other ones that I really liked was this pole vault one. And I think he was a Swedish guy. He's from Sweden. He had already won gold, but he still had jumps left. And he pushed himself to a world record. He beat his own world record for the 9th time. So he had already won, and he missed his first jump at 6.25 meters, which is 20 feet, 6 inches. Then he missed his second attempt. And then his third attempt was beautiful. It was seamless. He went up and over the bar, didn't touch it, and he even looked like he still had some space to go, which was insane because of how high it was. So those are kind of my highlights. There were definitely plenty of other events that happened. The women's discus, the shot put, there's some really cool stories there. The long jump, there's too many to list. But I definitely enjoyed watching the Olympics, so much so that I started looking at 2028 because, like, you guys might think it sounds stupid, but I've always wanted to go to the Olympics. I wanted to be a high caliber athlete. Talk to my mom. I sometimes bitch and complain to her, but like, man, if you guys put me in camps and did the right thing, I could have been in the Olympics. I'm a fantastic athlete. I just needed the direction. And she will say, oh, your dad and I wanted you to have a well-rounded experience. And, if you want to do something, we wanted you to tell us. And I counter with, hello, I was so young. You guys would have just had to put me in there. I wasn't going to be able to say anything. So I've been looking at the sports, and there is one that I'm going to put some effort into and see what I can make in these next 3-4 years to make a move to actually go to the Olympics. Now, don't make fun of me, because if you do, you're a butt-faced. And that's okay, because I thrive in adversity. So screw you if you are laughing at me. But I'm really excited about that. And watching these Olympics always gets people pumped and gets them a little motivated for how amazing and high caliber you could be. And there's so many things you don't see. You only see that moment where on race day where either you succeed or maybe you miss by a millisecond, a thousandth of a second. But all the hard work and effort that goes into it, you don't see. And that kind of ties back into with the quote with that the most important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning, but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering, but fighting well. You have to work for what you want. Because most of the time, you're not going to achieve that gold medal. They only have one gold medal per event. So work your butt off to get there. And there's this other quote that is, failure I can live with. Not trying is what I can't handle. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Because in training and practice, you fail. I don't really like the word fail, but you miss. You make mistakes. You work towards. You're not supposed to be good in practice. You're supposed to be good day of. So all the struggle, stress, hard work you put in and deal with on a daily basis accumulates that amazing performance when you need it. That's the whole point of training. It's centered around an event, not every day. You're not good every day. So that concludes this episode. Thank you so much for tuning into the Flex with Aaliyah, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.